Right, it's happened. I have to talk about it, and I feel like it deserves its own dedicated video at this point. Let's talk about... Oh, I'm going to have to use the official name, aren't I? The Freedom 250 Grand Prix. Because of course it's called that. Donald Trump has come up with an executive order that he wants to have an IndyCar race in Washington, D.C. Like in Race Driver Grid. The track's being known as Streets of Washington because it's a street course in Washington, D.C. It's happening on August 23rd, meaning that IndyCar has 6 weekends of racing in a row to round out the season. No, 5 weekends, 6 races. August through September. This was the off week between Markham for Ontario and Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Was. Because, according to this executive order, for over 100 years, American IndyCar racing has set the pace for motor sports. 2 words. With speeds topping over 200 miles per hour, yeah, they get to 250 at the Indy 500. The cars and drivers inspire awe and respect in all who want this quintessentially American sport. Except, you know, the reigning champion, multiple time champion being Spanish. The 3 rookies this year are a German, Norwegian, and a Brazilian. That in the field you have, I'm just going through the Wikipedia list here, an Australian, a Swede, a Mexican, a Dane, Cayman Islander, a Kiwi, yeah, like I mentioned, Pelot, a Brit in Jack Harvey, another Dane in Rasmussen, a Dutchman in VK, a Brazilian in Castro Neves, Swede in Rosenqvist, another Kiwi in Armstrong, a Russian-Israeli in Schwartzman, another Brit in Ilott, another Brit in Foster, and another Kiwi in Scott McLaughlin. Well, half the grid isn't American, and yeah, I guess a lot of the teams are, but even then you've got some that aren't, like Prema, for example. I know I'm being pedantic here. Also, legends such as AJ Foyt and Mario Andretti. You know, Mario Andretti, yes, American Formula One world champion who was born in modern-day Croatia and is Italian. And I like that it's every Memorial Day weekend when people travel from across the globe to the Indy 500, the largest single-day sporting event in the world. I don't think 45-47 has attended the 500 in his presidency. He's attended the Daytona 500. He attended the Daytona 500 last year. Wonder if he'll try and do the 1100. That would be interesting, right? Also, NASCAR's doing a 250th anniversary race. They're doing it 4th of July, aren't they? The San Diego one. And it's like got all of these military themes around it. So, in terms of the track, it's not being designed by Herman Tilke or anyone like that. It's the Secretary of the Interior and the Secretary of Transportation. So it's two members of Trump's cabinet. It's going to involve the National Mall, so that will be, you know, the stuff like the Washington Monument, Congress, well, Capitol Building, should I say, and the White House. I've seen one track design. I don't think it is the correct one because it looks almost too phallic to be. It's almost as if the South Park creators sat down and went, how do we make a racetrack in downtown DC? Yeah. I don't think it's legit that that's the one that it's going around on social media. It can't be though. But yeah, Trump's decided that this is happening, so it's going to happen. Penske holds a lot of the rights, right, with IndyCar. So Penske has been on the White House lawn with Logano's 22 and whose car was it? I feel like it was Newgarden's. It was on the White House lawn last year. I mean, there have been scandals as well, right? Like, ICE last year used a Penske box truck to round up people in. There was an operation in which they used IndyCar drivers as code names, and there had to be apologies that came from that. Maybe it's kind of I owe you one. Or maybe it's an I owe you one in the opposite direction. I don't know how that works, but following American politics, that seems to be how it's working at the moment. And bear in mind that this is actually an executive order. This is an order from the president to do it. So it may have been that there was a proposed negotiation for it. That kind of broke down. Trump's like, well, I want it anyway. So this is when we're going to have it. Because, yeah, 4th of July weekend, they're in mid-Ohio. That can't be moved. And, again, it would be a clash with NASCAR San Diego race. I'm almost out of words, but I'm never fully out of words when it comes to things that will happen as a surprise here. It's just interesting, to say the least. I'll be interested to see how it turns out, if people show up. And if it's an interesting track, if it's a successful track. But don't be surprised if people very quickly cotton on that it's another personal project by the President of the United States to boost his credibility. Because this is nothing new, right? And I am a bit off the cuff with this, but this is nothing new. Like, if there wasn't an FIA ban on political leaders, Trump would show up at one of the United States Grand Prix to hand out the trophy. I mean, he did show up in Miami a couple of years ago, didn't he? When he was the nominee. When it was Biden's presidency, he showed up at the Miami Grand Prix. And that's the kind of person he is. The FIA ban came in after, Putin kept showing up to the Russian one and supposedly got drenched by Lewis Hamilton with some champagne. And Erdogan used it quite a bit for the Turkish events. I remember Rally Turkey 2018, I think it was 2018. Latvala was on the podium, and he and Mika Antala, and I talked about this a while ago on the channel, actually, didn't I? Tried to avoid shaking hands with Erdogan. Lots of governments like these as ways of boasting about their country's excellence. But I can't think of an example for a United States Grand Prix with an American president. Maybe Reagan did it. I mean, I am going back a long way to go. Maybe it was Reagan. I can't think of the USGP at Indy or COTA having that happen. Maybe the governor. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below about it. I'm certainly interested as a almost neutral observer as a Brit. But yeah, I'm going to end it with where I began. Of course this was going to happen. Right? Okay. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.